King Arthur, Legend of the Sword, cost $175 million to make, but it grossed less than $40 million in the U.S. No love for the $177 million sci-fi movie Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets either. It too grossed just under $40 million. And even franchise favorite Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Men Tell No Tales fell well short of previous installments. According to media tracking reports, this will be the worst summer box office season in more than a decade.
The summer, though, is kind of the point where you think, of course it's going to be okay. Of course everybody's going to flock to the theaters. And what we saw was a lot of the sequels, people responded with, I don't really care so much.
So what's happening? Online video streaming, that's what. As theater audiences dwindle, streaming viewership is expanding. Netflix has more than 100 million subscribers worldwide. That shift is having an impact on how filmmakers are creating and distributing content.
I think as a filmmaker, many years ago, all of our dream was to be in a theater. Now, I think that's shifted a lot.
Kevin Fox knows a thing or two about how films get made and distributed. He was the executive producer of the indie horror film The Blair Witch Project, which cost just $60,000 to make, but grossed nearly $250 million worldwide.
I used to go to Sundance and I would bring a film and I would look for who, the usual suspects, right? The big studios who had either the smaller distribution platform or the studio itself. In the past 2 years, or let's say even a year, the big buyers at any festival are now all streaming services.
But there's a big difference in selling to streaming services versus a traditional studio. There are no back-end deals, which means no chance for additional profits after the release, and there's no data.
When Netflix makes a deal, they pay up front. They pay top dollar up front, and there's no back end, which is good because there's no numbers. So the filmmaker doesn't have any intelligence around how their film performed, but they're paid. And they're paid at a level that really the other distributors cannot compete with.
There's another advantage to streaming services that you just can't get at the theater, and that's shelf life. A movie stays at the theater for maybe a couple weeks at best, but with streaming, you have a lot more time. For example, I've got a lot of movies and TV shows on my Netflix watch list, but I haven't had the time. But when I do, it'll all be there on demand. In fact, maybe I have some time right now. May Lee, CGTN, Los Angeles.